Rachel Zegler makes a sudden exit from the stage during Evita.
Rachel Zegler just got canceled after storming out of the Evita show mid-performance, leaving understudy Bella Brown to save the night and steal spotlight.
And it's really not about talent. It's about watching someone who thought they were above it all finally get humbled. And as far as Hollywood drama goes, this is the sort that not a lot of people can look away from.
Disney is scrambling for damage control, gagging her from press events as fans demand a replacement. Some people remain pathetic. July 24th, a regular night at Evita. Lights up, Act 1 ends. The audience heads to the lobby expecting that legendary "Don't Cry for Me, Argentina" moment. That's what they paid for. That's what Rachel was hired to deliver. Except she vanishes. Poof, gone.
Later said on her Instagram stories after the show, "Today really showed just how important swings and covers are within this industry. They are the pillars of a show. A proud day to be at Evita." Rachel is currently scheduled to return for the July 25th evening performance of the show.
15 minutes into the interval, someone finally announces that Bella Brown, the understudy Rachel never bothered to introduce, would finish the show. That's right, the star just tapped out like it was amateur night. And the poor audience, bless their confused theater-loving souls, sat in limbo 40 to 45 minutes waiting for Act 2. That's longer than some relationships.
Paying customers are waiting to see her on stage, and she took off and headed to a balcony where she could belt out Evita's hit song, "Don't Cry for Me, Argentina," live for free.
But here's the best part. When Bella Brown finally stepped onto that iconic balcony, the moment Rachel flaked on, the audience exploded. A standing ovation. The kind of applause that makes roofs tremble and egos deflate. If Andrew Lloyd Webber was cashing royalty checks that night, Bella's version was the only reason they had weight.
The film that bombed so hard that it only brought in $50 a screen over Mother's Day weekend is now somehow the #1 streaming hit on Disney+. And before you ask, you're going to say, how did this happen?
And of course, Bella hit Instagram like a pro. No name drops, no real shade, just praising the swings and covers, the ones who actually show up. A proud day for Bella, a humiliating one for Rachel. And get this, she's back July 25th. Because, of course, nothing like abandoning a stage, then casually plotting your comeback like Beyoncé.
After headline demonstrating the horrible reputation that she has made for herself because she just can't seem to keep her own thoughts in.
But let's not pretend this was just one screw-up. That 40-minute intermission turned into a live Twitter roast. People went from, "Where's Rachel?" to, "Who cares? Bella's better," in real time. The applause was fast, but the internet dragging was faster. Suddenly, Rachel wasn't the star. She was the problem that made the star. The break wasn't just off stage, it was a full-on rewrite. And Rachel got written out.
About the very first actress in history to become box office poison before she ever came box office. You know, I'm talking.
Andrew Lloyd Webber's biggest note of the night wasn't some crescendo. It was Bella's standing ovation. That was the real climax. Meanwhile, Rachel's name isn't in the applause credits, it's in the incident report. Do the crisis math. 15 minutes of awkward silence, 30 minutes of backstage panic, then boom, an understudy steps out and nails it. That's not just a gap in the show, that's a career-sized headline. Rachel's PR team probably aged a decade in that intermission.
Narcissist!
But honestly, are we even surprised? This is the same Rachel Zegler who went from Hollywood dream to headline disaster. She was picked from 30,000 hopefuls for West Side Story, the youngest ever to win a Golden Globe. It was set up as the ultimate underdog to icon story, a real-life Cinderella moment. Instead, the clock struck midnight fast. Plot twist. Rachel's story looks less like Cinderella and more like a villain origin arc built on ego. The fairy tale face-planted straight into controversy after controversy. First the Snow White casting, then the political rants, and now the mid-show ghosting. At this point, her career is so predictable you could set your watch by the drama. Public goodwill? Gone. Hollywood didn't discover a rising star, they found a drama magnet in a tiara. And speaking of faceplants, let's talk Snow White's. Box office, ready? Disney's live-action remake with Miss Don't Cry for Me Zegler is tracking at $50 million opening weekend in the US and Canada. Sounds fine until you remember The Lion King pulled $192 million, Beauty and the Beast $175 million. Meanwhile, Rachel's Snow White crawls in at $50 million, like it dropped the glass slipper before even making it to the theater.
Things are already shaping up to be a bit of a poop show? No, I don't like.
And Disney's promotion? Basically non-existent. Radio silence. Why? Because their lead actress has turned into a walking headline hazard. They're terrified she'll say something else that detonates the campaign. The marketing throttle down is in full effect. And what's the result? A beloved classic turned into a culture war lightning rod, all thanks to one person. Rachel tried to modernize Snow White, and the audience replied, "Cool, we're not watching."
And a little bit hilarious. You know what I mean. What I have found to be exceptionally funny in the lead up to this film is how Disney has seemingly gone out of its way to stop its lead actress, Rachel Zegler, from talking to basically
You can't make this up. A historic Disney property, a global stage, a fan base craving nostalgia, and somehow it all detonates because of one actress who thinks being controversial is more valuable than being likable. And it's not just walking off stage once. It's walking off the trust people gave her. Whether it's a live show or a legacy character, the pattern's the same. Make a mess, say something smug, vanish, then act like nothing happened.
An iconic song, yes, but it's the balcony grabbing all the attention.
The Evita moment was just the latest red flag in a long chain of them. But this one hit harder because it was live. You can't edit out walking off stage. You can't retweet it into something witty. You can't blame it on context. You either showed up or you didn't. And Rachel didn't.
We'll assume is a love story just because we cast a guy in the movie, right. Andrew Burnap. All of Andrew's scenes could get cut, who knows?
Should befall Trump and his voters. Do not see this film, but no. Rachel had to complicate it. She had to turn a simple performance into a headline. She had to remind the world, once again, that she's always one quote, one tweet, one vanishing. Act away from another PR disaster. And when your entire job is literally just to show up and deliver the lines, that's not unprofessional. It's pure ego. So, Disney did the only thing they could when their lead actress became a soundbite away from self-destruction. They shut her mic off, literally. March 5th, 2025. London red carpet premiere of Snow White. The flashing cameras, the press interviews, the smiling cast all pretending this movie isn't a full-blown PR dumpster fire. With one major thing missing, Rachel's voice. Flag in a long chain of them, but this one hit harder because it was live. You can't edit out walking off stage. You can't retweet it into something witty. You can't blame it on context. You either showed up or you didn't. And Rachel didn't.
And they couldn't put dwarfs because this is just so typical of the left. The progressives always finding a way to find their way back to doing something not progressive.
But Disney wasn't about to risk another circus. They pulled the plug on London entirely. No glitz, no big red carpet, just a quiet relocation to Spain, secret venue, limited press, maximum distance between Rachel and a live microphone. Nobody on the right side of America can stand the star of this movie anyway, so why hand her another stage? Then came March 15th, 2025, the so-called LA premiere. And honestly, it was a parody of itself. No traditional red carpet, no reporters lined up to grill Rachel about her stalker Prince comments. Instead, Disney hand-selected photographers, like it was an art exhibit. And the kicker? They rolled out Jodie Benson, the original Ariel from The Little Mermaid, to do the interviews. When you have to summon actual Disney royalty to babysit your lead actress, that's not a premiere, that's rock bottom with confetti.
We absolutely wrote a Snow White that is
not going to be saved by the prince.
She's not going to be saved by the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love. She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can be.
Martin Kleba, who voices Grumpy, didn't even bother sugarcoating it. He flat out said, "All this chaos is happening because of Rachel's never-ending controversies." And he wasn't wrong. Disney's strategy was survival, not promotion. Fewer interviews meant fewer disasters. They basically built a PR panic room just to contain her. Because here's the truth. When your lead princess can't handle a basic press stop without turning it into a trending mess, you don't have a movie, you've got a live grenade with lipstick. Rachel wasn't on a press tour, she was on a leash. Every appearance looked less like promotion and more like crisis babysitting. The audience could feel it too. Instead of selling a fairy tale, Disney was selling damage control. And nobody buys tickets to watch a meltdown in real time.
We know that our girl Rachel likes to yap, so if she's going out of her way to basically escape talking to the media about the film that she's starring in, then I think we can reasonably assume that some things are going on behind the scenes.
And this is where the whole thing spirals from bad to, oh dear God, who signed off on this? Let's talk about the infamous Seven Dwarfs fiasco. After Peter Dinklage publicly called out Disney for the backward portrayal of dwarves, the studio overcorrected in the worst way possible. Instead of casting talented actors with dwarfism who could have brought nuance and heart to the roles, they scrapped the idea completely. Their replacement? Magical creatures? Yeah, that's it. No explanation, just some vague, soulless CGI placeholders. Magical in what sense? Magical in the sense that they magically erased the last shred of authenticity the film had. Because apparently, honoring the source material was scarier to Disney than the actual Wicked Queen. The result? A movie that already felt like a PR minefield now looked like it was assembled by a committee afraid of its own shadow.
Going to be saved by the prince.
She's not going to be saved by the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love. She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows.
I think I watched the original once as a kid, then never touched it again. But Disney's new creative choices? Hard to ignore. The backlash came fast and brutal. Actors with dwarfism were furious. Jason Acuna, aka Wee Man from Jackass, said out loud what everyone was already thinking. Disney ripped away real job opportunities and replaced them with soulless CGI placeholders nobody asked for, and those leaked set photos? Instant meme factory. The internet tore it apart like it was a circus of bad decisions. The outrage got so loud, Disney panicked, scrapped their shiny new magical creatures plan, and rushed back to reshoot whole sections of the movie, which only left them stuck in limbo. Too far gone to fix, too messy to hide.
It was a wholesome family film, and now they've turned it into woke trash. Check this out from Men Wokeness. Disney's Snow White said that harm should befall Trump and his voters. Do not.
They put dwarfs back in because, shocker, this is just so typical of the left. The so-called progressives always manage to circle back around to doing something not progressive at all. The fallout? A full year of delays and some of the ugliest, half-baked CGI abominations you'll ever see. And even though Rachel wasn't the one who decided to replace the dwarfs, she still became the face of every bad call. Because by now, her name is basically glued to disaster. Of course, she didn't help herself either. She kept trashing the 1937 classic that made Snow White iconic in the first place. She called Prince Charming weird and stalkerish, which is ironic, because if you've seen her interviews, that exact energy could describe her attitude toward her own fan base. And then came the golden quote, "I'm not bleaching my skin for the role." Sure, Rachel, nobody asked you to. But congratulations on pouring gasoline onto a fire that didn't even exist yet. That one line turned a casting choice into a full-blown cultural battlefield.
Because Rachel Zegler is just this awful. The truth is that Warner Brothers actually did this a few years ago with relation to The Flash, because its lead actor, Ezra Miller, was caught up in some controversy too. Except that Miller's was like kidnapping and screaming at police.
Rachel absolutely bragged about how her Snow White wasn't going to be saved by the prince. Not once, not twice. She hammered it home. No prince, no true love, just a girl dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can be. Disney even tried updating the music to match. They scrapped "Someday My Prince Will Come," one of the most legendary Disney songs ever written, and shoved in "Waiting on a Wish." Let's be real, nobody's waiting to hear that. Fans were already skeptical about this remake, and Rachel's smug delivery made it worse. She even tossed out, "We didn't do that this time," like it was some feminist mic drop. Yeah, well, you also didn't do winning people over this time, Rachel.
Terms.
Like, don't get me wrong, I know that there are some people, or probably many people, who've worked really hard on this movie, but I do love watching Disney collapse in on itself. Disney is living proof that you can try to ride one pendulum swing and then get smacked in the face when it changes direction.
Rachel loves to yap, until it actually matters. The second she had to promote her own movie, suddenly she's ducking questions and dodging press. If your lead actress is running from microphones, you don't need tea leaves to know something's burning behind the scenes. And if trashing the original as extremely dated wasn't enough, she had the audacity to turn right around and beg those same fans to buy tickets. Imagine insulting someone's childhood memories and then shaking them down for cash. That's not confidence, that's pure delusion. But that was just the warm-up. The real career nuke? Rachel hopping online to declare Trump supporters should never know peace. Brilliant move, Rachel, because nothing screams wholesome Disney princess like alienating half the country with one tweet. Family-friendly? Try PR nightmare.
The very first actress in history to become box office poison before she ever came box office. You know, I'm talking.
She's not getting saved by the prince. She's not dreaming of true love. No, Rachel Snow White is dreaming of becoming the leader she knows she can be. Cue the collective eye roll. Megyn Kelly didn't hold back. She went on air, flat out called Rachel a pig, and demanded Disney fire her. Harsh? Sure, but let's be real. Rachel basically handed her the flamethrower and said, "Go ahead, torch me." And just when you think Disney might dig in and defend, their star, February 2025 hits, and Vulture drops the truth bomb. Disney isn't protecting Rachel. Disney is terrified of its own audience. After detonating the nostalgia, weathering the backlash, and still bleeding credibility, they finally realized fans aren't playing along anymore.
Back in late 2024, when Zegler tweeted about the Snow White trailer getting millions of views on YouTube, she followed up her post with another stating, "Free Palestine."
Here's the kicker. When Ezra Miller was out there getting arrested and screaming at cops, Warner Brothers shoved him into PR containment mode. Disney did the exact same thing with Rachel. Only difference? She didn't even need felony charges to earn it. All she had to do was open her mouth.
Zegler, being 23 or whatever she is, like so many kids raised on TikTok, she's all for Infantata is the only global solution.
Who is the new Snow White, and she's talking about Snow White being woke.
Can you tell us a little bit about your version of Snow White?
Yeah, I mean, Snow White is the girl you remember, but she's definitely made for the modern age, and there's such an emphasis on what it really means to be the fairest of them.
Disney tried to reel her in. They even called her management, probably on speed dial by now. But Rachel, she doesn't listen. She calls it being authentic, which is just code for, I'll tank this movie on my own terms. Most actors take years to ruin a Disney opportunity. Rachel managed to do it in record time. Walked off Evita, trashed a 1937 classic, alienated millions of potential viewers. She's basically written the how-to guide for career sabotage. And here's the real problem. It's not just PR. It's the fact that Rachel genuinely thinks she's untouchable. Disney built a billion-dollar brand on lovable characters who respect their fans. Meanwhile, Rachel acts like fans should be grateful she even showed up. Newsflash, Rachel, you didn't. Show up. Not for Evita, not for Snow White, not for anyone but yourself.
For example, maybe Snow White is just too far away from this generation and can't cross those generational lines. I guess it goes to show that maybe rather than endlessly doing remakes, Disney should invest its money in creating something new.
Rachel Zegler has officially made history. The first actress to become box office poison before she ever became box office. And the proof is written all over the so-called Snow White sisterhood. On one side, you've got Gal Gadot, global superstar, the evil queen with real Hollywood weight. On the other, Rachel Zegler, who thought firing off a Free Palestine tweet in late 2024 was a great way to kick off press season. Since then, every clip of the two standing together has been dissected frame by frame. Side eyes, stiff smiles, frozen body language. Fans swear it looks less like a sisterhood and more like a Cold War photo op. Disney can pump out glossy press photos all they want, but come on, we all see it. They don't look like co-stars, they look like two people, trapped in a PR hostage situation.
Had seemingly decided to trade out the little men for 7 magical creatures, who viewers got to see in some very early leaked photos. Hilariously, this just pissed fans off further, and even pissed off dwarf actors.
Disney loves to sell this glossy, strong women supporting each other vibe, sisterhood optics, girl power branding, but reality doesn't do optics. It does drama, and the cracks between Rachel and Gal are impossible to hide. When your lead, Princess and your evil queen can't even fake a little friendly chemistry on stage. The press tour isn't a celebration, it's a minefield. What should have been lighthearted interviews and playful photo ops turned into something that felt more like a crisis management drill. Every event had to be stage managed like a hostage negotiation. And Disney's ultimate solution? Lock it down. Keep them apart. If Rachel and Gal don't appear together, then hey, no tension, right? Sure. Let's all pretend that works.
Witness tells E! News that around 15 minutes into the interval, it was announced that her understudy, Bella Brown, would be stepping in to finish.
But here's the kicker. Rachel isn't just awkward with her co-stars, she's flat out impossible to control. Industry insiders are already spilling the tea, and the verdict is unanimous. Disney's leading lady is a PR nightmare. We're not talking about some random Reddit rumor. These are people inside the machine. According to them, Disney and her management have been calling her directly, practically begging her, tone it down. Stop running your mouth. Quit turning this film into your personal political soapbox. And what does Rachel do? Absolutely nothing. She blows off every warning like it's beneath her. It's almost like she's allergic to listening. At this point, it's not just ego, it's insubordination dressed up as authenticity.
If I'm going to stand there 18 hours in a dress of an iconic Disney princess, I deserve to be paid for every hour that it is streamed.
And the audience? Oh, they've had enough. Enter the Ards Rux Replace Rachel movement. And this isn't just a handful of salty fans screaming into the void. This is a full-blown campaign to boot her from her own movie. The hashtag blew up with suggestions. Some want Lily Collins to step in. Others think Disney should just give up and reanimate the whole thing. And the memes? Brutal. My personal favorite? If you hate Snow White so much, remake Frozen and call it Chilly Independent Woman. Honestly, that's a better tagline than whatever mess Disney is serving up right now. Rachel has somehow become the face of everything people hate about modern Hollywood. She's the poster child for why these remakes keep crashing and burning. And Disney, they're stuck. Fire her, and it looks like they caved to mob rule. Keep her, and they're practically daring audiences to boycott. It's a lose-lose, with Rachel planted right in the middle, pretending none of it's her fault. And if Disney learned anything from this disaster, it's simple. When your star spends more time mocking your movie and your fans, the audience will mock your box office. They set out to modernize Snow White. What they got instead was a PR nightmare. In a ball gown, Rachel didn't become the heroine of a magical reboot, she became the cautionary tale of the year. She wanted to modernize a myth. Congratulations, Rachel. You became one. The myth of how to take a billion-dollar opportunity and reduce it to rubble in 12 easy headlines. Disney didn't just cast a lead actress, they cast the one person, most likely to sabotage her own movie while tweeting about empowerment. And that final image, Evita's balcony, it was supposed to be Rachel's moment of triumph, the kind of role-defining scene that makes a career. Instead, it was Bella Brown standing there, soaking up a thunderous standing ovation, while Rachel's name trended online for all the wrong reasons. Bella's performance was the real "don't cry for me" moment, except nobody's crying. For Rachel, they're laughing, roasting, and moving on. Her cancellation notice might not be printed in bold letters yet, but let's be honest, the writing's already on the wall. And it's spelled out in 45 minutes of silence, a standing ovation for an understudy, and a Disney PR team working harder to contain her than to promote the actual movie. Subscribe for more brutally honest takes and the next Hollywood meltdown. Because trust me, the disasters are just getting started.